Today on Dr. Phil.
My dad stole my inheritance.
I did not steal my kids' inheritance. They can wait till I croak, and they get theirs.
Grandma left her nothing.
There was a will in which they were named originally, correct?
Yes.
You think he manipulated her into changing the will?
I do.
And she had to buy a family heirloom.
You negotiated to sell this to your daughter?
Hey, the facts are the facts.
Why would you do that?
Make $75.
You totally negated what she wanted.
I did not negate it.
You're taking away from your daughters. I wish they could
Stop wishing.
This family drama is just getting started.
He is spending my inheritance, chasing a dream.
My whole family thinks I'm crazy to be pursuing a woman 30 years younger than me.
The old mail-order bride from the Ukraine comes into play.
We seem to hit it off, and she's hot.
She have a sexy voice.
I don't know, I haven't talked to her.
Let's do it. This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. How are you? Hey, guys. Thank you very much. Now, behind this attractive family lies a list of grievances you couldn't even imagine. Divorce, cheating, drinking, name-calling, and even a mail-order bride in the Ukraine. But the biggest source of contention that has divided this group is all over a will left by Grandma. One daughter, Lisa, says her dad stole all of her inheritance. This dispute has left this family apart. We have Lisa, who is on Mom Kathy's side. We have her sister, April, who is siding with Dad, Carl. Now, meanwhile, Lisa's other sisters, Jennifer and Sierra, say they feel caught in the middle. So let's start by hearing from Lisa and her parents, Kathy and Carl. Take a look.
My grandmother passed away almost 5 years ago. My grandma was a wonderful person. We were her life.
A number of years before my mom passed away, she told me how she set up her will.
I saw a copy of her will. Carl would get 75% of the estate, and our daughters would inherit the remaining 25%.
My mother asked me how I felt about that, and I told her I felt it was wrong. My mom listened to what I said, and she changed her will. When my mom died, I inherited approximately $275,000.
My dad stole my inheritance. It infuriates me. It's beyond selfish.
I did not steal my kids' inheritance.
When I think about that, I feel angry, disgusted, mortified.
It's none of her business. I don't like her interfering in something that's not anything to do with her. We've been divorced 14 years. NOYB.
I know my grandma, and I know that she would never want to leave us with nothing.
He told me that he was going to decide when and if they should get the money.
I call Kathy a 160-pound mosquito because a mosquito will bite you and irritate you, and I feel like that's what she's doing. She calls me up, argues with me. It's like this, I don't like it.
I would not put it past my dad that there was a sum of money to be given to us, and he just kept it for himself.
The bottom line of the mother's will is I want people to stop talking about it. I inherited it. They can wait till I croak, and they get theirs.
Okay, so Lisa, you actually believe that he has stolen your inheritance. And how do you think he went about this? How did he do this? How did he steal your inheritance?
I absolutely think that he manipulated the will to get all of it. And the money bothers me. The money absolutely, it'd be great if I had something to help me out with, or I did 3-4 years ago. But it's mainly the fact that he disrespected what Grandma wanted, and you're taking away from your daughters. You're like taking something that was given to us and keeping it for yourself. I feel like that's really selfish.
In 2005, she asked me what I thought of it, and I said, Mom, I don't think it's right. I don't agree with it. You can do what you want, But I said, our whole family and everybody I know leaves it to their offspring. Doesn't jump a generation. And I don't remember the 25%. I'm sorry. I thought it was 50-50, 50 divided by you 4 kids.
See, that's
and
the
so,
whole...
wait a minute, let me finish.
Sorry.
And so she then changed it. She didn't tell me she changed it until afterwards when I got the copy of the trust. It was made co-trustee, executor of the will, everything else. And I try to help out when I can. I gave you $1,000 back a while, the part that you didn't pay back. I'm using that to try to invest it and not lose it and keep it so long that when I die, there'll be enough left to make you guys happy.
And I absolutely appreciate that. But see, the thing is, I never knew what the whole situation was. It was also hush-hush.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what it was, because you originally told our production assistant, Manolo, that your mom left a quarter to the girls. Then you told our producer, Allie, that 3/4 was left to the girls. Then you told segment director John that 50% was left to the girls.
I might have misstated meaning 3/4 to me, but as I remember, because like I say, when somebody's asking me questions in front of a camera, it's like, how much did you get? I don't even...
Well, we were just trying to get the story. I mean,
yeah, as far as I can remember...
She didn't leave anything to me, so I didn't have it.
Even if it was 75 to me, 25 to them, she asked me what I felt about it.
You saw the will.
A
will.
And I don't know how she saw the will.
I did see a binder, and it said that they got Carl got 3/4 and they got a quarter.
Okay, we're talking about several hundred thousands of dollars here, so I mean it's a significant amount of money. But so you saw at that time 3/4 to him, 1/4 to you.
To the
girls
daughters.
to be split up among the girls.
So we essentially got 1/16.
Right. Okay. So, but then when she did pass, and I'm sorry for your loss, by the way.
You.
So when she did pass, and you all suffered the loss, then the will comes out, and it all goes to you, except $5,000, which went to you.
Correct.
The ex-daughter-in-law.
Yes, but...
So you get nothing. Ex-daughter-in-law gets $5,000, and the rest goes to you.
Correct.
And me and my grandma were really, really close. And it bothers me that you totally negated what she wanted.
I did not negate it. She asked what I felt about it. And I'm telling you, and I told her how I felt.
I'm just saying that I wish Grandma's wishes would have been...
Well, I guess her ultimate wishes were fulfilled.
Well,
Didn't
see,
she put her wishes in her will?
That's what I thought, yes. But see, I don't even really know the story.
It.
It's all been so
Nobody's ever saw the will.
No one's ever seen it. I just want to kind of figure out what happened.
You think he manipulated her into changing the will?
I do.
Are you saying he, like, stood on her air hose until she changed it? Or do you think he conned her into changing it? What are you saying?
I think he convinced her.
I think he did. I think he convinced her. Because my grandma, this is her only son, and they were also very close. And she respected and trusted him.
Right.
You know, and wanted his opinion. So I think that whatever he said went.
There was a will in which they were named originally, correct?
Yes.
And then you talked to her, and you said, I think you should change it.
Right. I was up there visiting, and so I said,
you said, yeah, I think
you decide what you want to do. But I said, this is the way I feel, because she asked how I felt. And I was living in California. She was in Portland, so I couldn't stand on our air hose. And it was, you know, it's to the point, I'll let them read all these documents if they want. I don't care. Right. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I pretty much made her investment decisions for her since my dad died in 1974. So I felt like I had increased her assets to the point where, you know, that's just the way I felt. I felt like I was the man and the man in charge, and I was her son, and that's it.
Well, you said you had read my book, Life Code, and I coined a term in there called baiter. You said that you felt like he was a baiter.
Yeah, I do.
And a baiter, I mean, you can read it right here. It's a term that is backstabber, abuser, imposter, taker, exploiter, and reckless. And it's kind of something that goes beyond different diagnoses. And you said you felt like he fit this term.
I do, to me, absolutely.
And then you say that he stole your inheritance. You say, oh, I don't want to be too harsh. But yet you say, I think he's a backstabber, abusing, imposter, taker, exploiter, and reckless.
Yeah.
That's pretty harsh.
It is. It is harsh.
So you feel that way about him?
I think that he's that way with me, I do.
Well, there's another sister here. There's more than one sister, as we said up front. She does not feel that way about her dad at all. And in fact, she says that Lisa has no business digging into his financial or personal affairs, and that she just needs to just back off. We're going to meet her next.
I completely support my dad. Lisa says that my dad has stolen her inheritance, but in reality, it's his inheritance. I would describe my sister Lisa as a superficial, self-absorbed drama queen.
And later,
For 2.5 years, I've been using an international dating website. I'm interested in girls from Ukraine. My whole family thinks I'm crazy to be pursuing a woman 30 years younger than me.
The way that I look at it is that he is spending my inheritance, chasing a dream that's not going to happen. Before my grandma passed away, she told me that I could have this really big, beautiful mirror that used to hang in her house. I love it, and it always reminded me of her. After my grandmother passed away and I asked my dad about getting the mirror and bringing it home, he told me that he was planning on selling it on Craigslist for $150, and that if I wanted it, I was gonna have to pay him $150 for it. I couldn't believe it. I honestly thought he was joking. I was able to negotiate him down to $75. When I think about having to pay for a family heirloom, it's disgusting.
really?
I guess it was really.
You're...
Whatever happened to that mirror?
So your mother, you sold it to your daughter, apparently. So your mother has a mirror in her house that has sentimental value to your daughter.
I don't know why, but...
Well, it doesn't matter why. It does. And here's the mirror. You see it right here.
It's hanging.
Right.
You just saw it a few weeks ago for Christmas, or a couple months ago.
Yeah, I thought you had it.
And so you negotiated to sell this to your daughter?
I guess so. Hey, the facts are the facts.
Why would you do that?
Well, I guess to make $75.
I feel like he wouldn't have done that if it was with April or Sierra. Like April got that cool
No,
chair.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm really trying to understand here.
Well, it was probably wrong.
But
How's that?
why did it seem like a good idea at the time? I have this mirror. It's obviously of no value to you.
Well, if I sold it for $150, it's $150 for something that was hanging on my mother's wall for 30 years. And it's no different than me selling all her furniture and stuff, and Kathy got a big percentage of that for doing that, helping out with all that sale. As far as the mirror goes, you know, it's something I've totally forgotten about. I could be totally wrong in doing it, and I make mistakes.
Lisa's sister April says the inheritance money belongs to their dad and no one else should feel entitled to it.
Basically, we have two camps. We have Lisa and her mom versus April and I.
I completely support my dad. I always have my dad's back.
They definitely have each other's backs. They will lie for each other, too.
Have you talked to Lisa or Neil?
No, I don't talk to Neil.
Have you talked to Jen?
I don't talk to Lisa either. April and I have a better relationship than I do with my other daughters.
I think that my sister, Lisa, and my mother are trying to make my dad look like he's greedy and self-serving. Lisa says that my dad has stolen her inheritance, but in reality, it's his inheritance.
Of course she's gonna say that because my dad helps her out financially. He gives her money. She's the one reaping the benefits.
I would describe my sister Lisa as superficial, self-absorbed.
I feel like she's nice to my face, but then goes to my dad and talks behind my back.
They need to come to me and talk about what's bugging them and what's being fed to them from their mother.
They're constantly talking about me or my mom. It's like, meow.
Lisa is a drama queen. Lisa blows everything out of proportion, and my mother is on the bandwagon because she's bored with her life.
April and I have never really seen eye to eye.
Growing up, my mother was incredibly abusive. My mother used to lock me in closets. She would hit me with belts.
April thinks I'm a bitch.
The sound of her voice makes me cringe. When I think about my mom, I feel like I want to punch her in her face. What I want from my mom is to go jump off a cliff.
What do you think about your dad selling your superficial sister, this mirror? Maybe she had to pay $75 to look at herself.
From what I heard, Lisa says that my grandma said that she could have the mirror. I don't know if that's the case or not. She brought up this chair that I have that's probably worth $15.
Did you throw down 3 5s for the chair?
No, I did not throw down 3 5s for the chair.
You didn't have to pay for it? What do you think about him selling her the mirror?
I think it's because the mirror is valuable. I think the frame on it is made out of something valuable so that it has some worth.
Really? God, you guys think about this so differently than I do.
Me too.
I
Me
just-
too.
It's all about the money.
I'm shocked.
Can I throw some down? You know, we talk
about
about
the money.
not
Yeah.
giving her
Here,
things.
isn't it?
I gave her my mom's engagement and wedding ring thing. Okay, maybe it's worth $1,000. You know, did you ever bring that up?
Yes.
You know, yes,
actually,
I
she
did.
did.
I did.
That was the first thing she talked about.
Okay,
actually,
well, good
that,
for you.
That you gave her that.
You
know
get
why?
an atta girl.
Well, do you know why? First of all, I gave Sierra the actual wedding band because I thought she deserved it. Because she was really close with Grandma. And I know me and Sierra, all of us were really close with her. But I know particularly, I think we had more of a special connection. You gave me that because I was holding her hand when she died.
Mm-hmm, I know that.
And I called you and said, come down here.
I said, I couldn't.
You couldn't because you were drinking.
I had gotten a DUI. I was on probation, and I had 2 glasses of wine.
Yeah, but Dad, it
prior
was
to that.
3 miles down the street.
No, it isn't. It's 8 miles.
Okay, well, you could have gotten a cab when I'm calling you bawling,
Yeah,
saying
okay.
your mom is dying
Right.
in front of
I
me
was in
right
there
now.
for 2.5 hours just before that.
Right, but that doesn't
And the
matter.
only-
She's
the
dying
only
right
reason
now.
you got there then was because you were late. She would have died before.
Dad, I was at work. I was working a double shift. I told you that I'm going to come during my break. As soon as I got off work, I went down to the hospital. I was there. My thought was I was going to be there for an hour visit with her and then go back to work. I didn't know that she was going to pass away
Well,
right
I didn't
there.
either. And by you telling me 15 minutes before she did, there was no way I was going to get there in time anyway, even if I
Well, even if you
attempted
didn't
it.
get there in time, at least you could have been there to help support the situation, be there as her son and as my dad, to kind of help, you know, nurture and comfort and all that
I guess
other
that's why I
stuff.
did that's why I did for the 2.5 hours earlier when the doctor said she couldn't understand anything I was saying. And when I said, Mom, do you know that we all love you and can you hear what I'm saying? And she's hooked up to her morphine and she went,
See, so she did know. She did know because she did the
but
same
they said
thing
she
with
was
me.
pretty much brain dead. Well, she wasn't brain dead.
Well, I know exactly,
And I thought
and
she
you
was
knew
going to
that.
live longer than that day.
Me too.
Anyway, I can't go back and go through that. I
I
can't
know, but I
change
want
that.
you to just acknowledge that, like, I just would like for you to acknowledge
I
that.
told you 1,000,000 times, Lisa, that it was so wonderful that you were there, but I was sorry you went through it alone.
I know, but I wish that you...
Stop wishing.
I stopped wishing a long time ago, Dad, honestly. Like, that's why we're here.
There was a will.
I felt like there was some shadiness, like something that
You want to
wasn't...
come over and look at the damn papers? I got them in a bookcase.
I
You
see-
want to read the
Dad,
whole
I see
300
them.
pages.
And later, you think he's getting catfished.
There's obviously someone on the other end writing letters.
I'm not stupid.
But when you went to meet Natalie, she wouldn't meet you. Somebody tell me again why we're here. Are we here talking about money? Or are we here talking
Right.
about relationship?
It's
Or are we here
more
talking about
relationships
your
and
resentment of fact
Everything.
that
It's
he
everything.
seems to not plug into you
Yes.
emotionally?
Yes.
What are we here about?
Honestly, I think the money aside, the will, I feel like is not even... I felt there was a little deception there. And everything, the whole ball of wax sucks. But I feel like that's not the main focus.
Here's
the main
thing,
focus...
Lisa, though, had you ever asked Dad, show me these documents, he would have shown them to you.
April, we were going to have a conversation, but you told Dad that, get ready, they're about to, you know, they're going to attack.
I
They're
did?
going to attack you.
When did I say that?
Before it happened. And so Dad said, oh, I've got my guns blazing. We're going to have this go on. But it was during Christmas time.
Who said
And I
this?
didn't...
Well, that's because we agreed to
How would
disagree
you
so
know?
much.
Well, there,
Because I was a part of the decision.
there,
You weren't
he
even down
did
there.
provide us documents concerning the will, and just to just give you the long and short of it.
Yeah.
There was a will, and he was named in the will as the co-conservator. I mean, there was a. I mean, here it is. This was dated back October 4th, 2005. And it says, upon my death, trustees shall distribute the following specific gift. And person, Catherine, your mom, specific gift, $5,000.
Yeah.
It says, I give the rest and residue of my trust to Carl. And then it says, if Carl, I mean, look at it here, look at it here.
I see it.
No, right here, you can see it really big. I pulled out the key parts for you. If Carl predeceases me, then my trustee shall distribute the rest remaining in equal shares to the then surviving lineal descendants of Carl, is the children. I mean, it would have gone all to you at that point. So if he dies before her and then she dies, then it goes to the children. So there was just a natural progression. Now, there were some more details in there, but that's kind of the...
And that's fine. I felt like there was some shadiness, like something that
You want to
wasn't
come over
being-
and look at the damn papers? I got them in a bookcase.
I
You
see,
want to read the
Dad,
whole
I see
300
them.
pages.
I see them.
I even asked a preeminent will and trust lawyer to join us today. Estate attorney Ann Margaret Carrozza is here to talk about this. And you believe that he had the right to have this conversation with his mother, right?
Yes.
And isn't it also good public policy? It's kind of in line with the mores and folkways of our society that wealth is passed on generationally.
Absolutely.
So it's not bizarre. I mean, if they went to court and said, well, Judge, we're here because this mother passed her wealth on, wait for it, to her son, the judge is not going to go, what? I mean, that's good public policy. It's mores and folkways of the society, right?
That's the norm, except here we have a change, that there was a point in time where Grandma did specifically name these granddaughters. And how did this change come about? Again, if Carl represented that this money is as good as in Fort Knox with me and the girls are ultimately going to get it, that's terrific.
Yeah, but isn't his story going to go a lot better since he's the only one telling it?
I think you're going to look at the change in the circumstances. Carl said today that he wasn't even aware of this change until after it happened. That would be highly unusual because if the 05 change named you as a co-trustee, you would have had to sign that at the time of the document for it to be valid.
And I did.
So you said earlier that you only heard about it after the change. So I think there's a little issue here.
It was signed, I don't remember when, but I was in California, and it was signed later when I went up to Oregon, where she lived. And but she had said later, after I had this discussion with her, that she said, okay, I agree with you, that's what I'll do. She said, I see your point.
So will there be something there? Well, hang on. This family drama is just getting started. Not only are Lisa and Kathy upset over the will, they also think that old Carl might just be doing what I was suggesting, wasting this inheritance money on something that they think is beyond bizarre. And this is where the old mail order bride, as they call it, from the Ukraine comes into play. That's right. Carl is in love with Natalia. Is that how you pronounce it, Natalia?
She likes the English, Natalie.
Natalie, and he has traveled overseas several times to try to meet her. So is he getting his money's worth? Well, we'll talk about all that when we come back.
I'm interested in girls from Ukraine. I've been to Ukraine twice. When I met Natalia online, we seemed to hit it off, and she's hot. When I got to Ukraine, Natalia had to leave the country. I've offered her small amounts of money. My whole family thinks I'm crazy.
They are not looking for love with him. They are looking for a ticket to the United States.
We're talking to a family divided over an inheritance. Now, on the one side are Lisa and her mother, Kathy, who feel that Carl may have tampered with his mother's will before she died in order to gain most of her inheritance. Now, you've not been specific about how you think he tampered with it. He says, yes, I talked to her about it years in advance and told her I thought she should change the will. Well, April supports her father and feels he has every right to do whatever he wants with the money. But Lisa insists her father is a sexist who doesn't respect women and is wasting the inheritance on a possible catfish scam with a Russian mail-order bride. Yeah, this show is just getting started. Take a look at this.
For 2.5 years, I've been using an international dating website. I'm interested in girls from Ukraine. I've been to Ukraine twice. The first time I went to Ukraine, I met 3 women. We didn't click, so I came back home, got back on the website, found a good-looking lady named Natalia. When I met Natalia online, we seemed to hit it off. Everything from our jobs to what we like in looks, music, pretty much everything. And she's hot. I wanted to meet Natalia, so I went back to Ukraine. When I got to Ukraine, Natalia had to leave the country for 2 weeks to Turkey. She stood me up. I told Natalia, now you play by Carl's rules. You learn English and you pay your own flight over here. Natalie's gonna come visit me 2 times last year, and she found out her passport expired. Next time, the tax inspector says you don't have your taxes up to date. I've offered her small amounts of money and she never accepted. Natalia speaks Russian, and I've been studying to learn how to speak Russian. I can say things like, I would like something to eat. Ya хотела бы что-нибудь выпить. Я люблю Natalia. I love Natalie. For 2 years now, the only way Natalie and I can communicate is through the agency with a girl named Susan translating. I pay $5 per letter. I've written 215 letters back and forth with Natalie. My total of the 2 trips was $6,000. My whole family thinks I'm crazy to be pursuing a woman 30 years younger than me.
They are not looking for love with him. They are looking for a ticket to the United States.
I think it's fine. If he wants to meet people in Ukraine, do your thing.
I have seen enough Dr. Phill catfish episodes.
He sits in a cubicle in Nigeria.
No, he does not.
His hair is sticking up out of the picture.
Whether he's getting drained financially, I know he's getting drained emotionally.
My mother will say to my dad,
"Oh, Carl, have you talked to your teenagers recently?"
To me, it's kind of a fantasy that he's gonna see unicorns and rainbows and lollipops, and his life is gonna be the best it's ever been.
I believe she's real. The agency says she's real. Her interpreter claims she's real.
The way that I look at it is that he is spending my inheritance, chasing a dream that's not gonna happen.
You are out there.
She's out there?
She's a space cadet.
She's a space cadet.
Natalie's going to take her inheritance, or hers, or anybody else's. I've already discussed with her 2 years ago, if we were to ever get married, she says, I totally agree with you that you should have a prenuptial agreement. Your kids should get what you've earned. There's no reason that I should get any. I don't deserve it. And she said, I agree that once we're married, what we earn together is what they get. And I said, you'd have to sign this prenuptial to say everything goes to them. I said, I have a will for my kids. She said, that's fine. She says, I don't want you to offer me money. I don't want you to send me money. She's told me that at least 10 times. At least. So it's not like these people that blow their 500 grand and say, I thought he was my lover. No.
She have a sexy voice?
I don't know. I haven't talked to her. Sexy voice, because you're the hot chick.
Never talked to her?
Great.
No, because she's only learning English. She takes 2 classes a week in English.
You've never talked to her in Russian?
I have never talked to her.
You've never heard her say anything in Russian?
Not a single word. It's all been letters.
Okay, now, come on, listen. Forget it. Forget about these people. Just
Okay,
come on, just
okay.
one old boy to another,
Okay.
okay? This is 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I can pick up a cell phone and call anybody in the world right now. It's not like...
Believe me, I'm totally skeptical. I told her I can only trust her halfway till I meet her.
Okay, but come on. How, in 2 years, you've never heard her voice?
Correct.
When you went to meet Natalie, she wouldn't meet you.
She split to Turkey, supposedly.
Oh, come on.
I'm determined to prove all these people wrong.
Okay.
This Natalie went to Turkey for 2 weeks. Her interpreter said she
Now,
did.
you went over there to meet her, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you went to meet Natalie, she wouldn't meet you.
Right, she wasn't there for 2 weeks, and then when she came back...
Did she know you were coming?
Yeah.
And then when you got there...
She split to Turkey, supposedly.
Oh, come on. Now, what do you...
Okay, I'm a trusting person, and sometimes I can be a fool. But, you know what? I'm determined to prove all these people wrong.
Okay. But you said you couldn't drive to go meet Lisa when your mom was in the hospital because you couldn't drive because you'd been drinking because you've had a DUI, right?
Correct.
And you've had actually not one DUI, but 2, 3 DUIs.
3.
Okay, so you drink some.
Yeah, every day.
Okay, and I've said many a time, there needs to be a breathalyzer on keyboards, I swear.
There does.
But
Drinking and emailing.
You sit home on this keyboard and you go back and forth with her and you write letters to her, right?
Correct, about 2 a week.
Okay, and here's her profile page. I mean, she says she's in Odessa, Ukraine, English basic, and she says is that a financier? Is that supposed to be financier?
Financier. She owns a company supposedly called the Business Center.
Right. She owns a company called the Business Center, but she can't. Okay, language skills. I can read and write with a dictionary, but can't speak. Okay, we've seen her picture, so we know that she's a very attractive young woman. And you trade emails with her, right? Mm-hmm. And you write to her, and you've written her love letters. You say, "Hello, my honey. Natalie, first, I really like your letter. I think it was the longest letter in our 2 years. Mostly, I worry you will change your feelings about how I look compared to you, the age thing. I truly developed a bond together with you, emotions, and every time I write you a letter, I try to express both me and my emotions, and to give each letter an atmosphere so you can feel my presence almost like I'm there." So you have to do this through letters, and then she writes to you, but she writes to you in Russian. "My dearest Carlito, my honey, do you know the meaning of this word as of the sweet thing used instead of sugar? Funny when I say it in Russian. I'm not sure I still want to hear your sex stories, actually. I mean, you can tell me jokes, but not the stories from your life. Do you not know why it somehow makes me feel jealous? Of course I sent the letter to Santa Claus, or Father Frost, as we call him here. Did you know that? I think about life with you, I really do. It's just that no matter how much you think and plan in theory and practice, it's always different, always. Do you not agree with me?" Now, how do you read those letters if they come in Russian?
She writes them, and Susan, interprets them. She knows English and Russian. So I write in English, Susan interprets them, but I know she's interpreting them the way I wrote, because when Natalie writes back, she's answering my questions, not some off-the-wall thing that didn't pertain to what I wrote.
So your English to Russian to English...
And then she writes in Russian.
Susan, you pay $5 a letter to get those translated.
Yeah, for her translation and for mine.
letters. So you spent $1,075 translating these letters.
Over 2.5 years, right. Well, sure as hell beats a $100 date with some chick that wants to take me for a $200 dinner. You know, hey, I kicks her $10 a week doing this.
It's a real, like, interaction with a woman, you know, and it's going out and
well,
doing
this
something.
is as good as it gets for now, and like I said, I could fail miserably at this.
Where was she when you went over to see her?
Supposedly in Istanbul on business.
Why wouldn't she stick around the house?
Well, that's in the back of my mind. All right, I'm not stupid. Hey, I'm not stupid.
You think he's getting catfished?
There's obviously someone on the other end writing letters.
Don't you think in 2.5 years something would have happened along those lines?
You say you think he's getting catfished. And by catfish, if y'all haven't seen it, we're talking about people that run love scams on people over the internet, and they do have an MO where they start getting money.
But don't you think in 2.5 years something would have happened along those lines?
I do think he's getting... There's obviously someone on the other end writing letters, but I'm more worried about him getting catfished emotionally and putting all of his eggs in this basket.
Well, you understand, there is an MO that these people follow. And
sure.
If you look, these are the typical things that they talk about. And if you look at this, one of her excuses, they always come up with excuses for why you can't meet them. She said that she was on a business trip. She said she couldn't come because she had a problem, expired visa, passport, can't get out of the airport, stuck in a foreign country. She said due to unrest, she said there's bomb problems in Kiev. She couldn't get there. No computer video chat capability. I mean, you just go through here already, you start seeing, you have to start, she's starting to hit an awful lot of things here that you're coming up with, that I'm stuck in Turkey, I can't travel, it's too dangerous in Kiev, my passport's expired, she's told you she's got taxes that she has to pay, she's stuck, she can't go because taxes are paid. Some of these things, I mean, she's certainly showing up with problems that show up typical. I mean, this is what the FBI and Interpol tells you to start. I mean, you just got to know.
I understand that.
And when you went over there, did you get along okay? Did you have any problems when you got over there?
Well, other than language, but a lot of people do speak some English. I got along fine with the other two girls. One I didn't like, one I did. I had fun. Met a Swedish guy in my hotel. We went out and partied hard, you know, for a week. Of course. I told you I drink every day. What am I going to do? But I was very disappointed that she didn't come to my hotel. I got a hold of her through Susan with about 3 days to go on my trip, and I said, you can come to my hotel. You don't have to get arrangements from the management of the dating site. And so she said, no, it's true. And so, you know, it's okay, das vidanya, I'm going back home. And that's when she wrote and wanted forgiveness, and that's when I said, you need to learn English and pay your own way over here, period. And she said, I'll do it. So we'll see.
And she was supposed to come.
September, then
didn't make it.
Toward Christmas, right?
Didn't make it.
Passport. Then didn't get the passport till November. Then they wouldn't. Then she couldn't go before that, all that, because of all the violence in Kiev. That's where they have to go to the U.S. Embassy in Kiev to get their interview for a visa for travel. And then it was the tax inspector, as they call them, said that she has to catch up on her taxes. Otherwise, we're not going to let you go because you could go to the United States and not pay your taxes.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens.
I do too.
All right, next we're going to find out why Carl says he will keep paying to go to the Ukraine to find the love of his life, but he won't go to Mexico for his own daughter Lisa's wedding, which is coming up. We'll be right back. Well, we have run out of time. Now, you would think after an inheritance squabble and a Russian mail-order bride drama, we'd be done here. But, oh no, there is a whole lot more. You're going to find out why Carl flat out refuses to attend his daughter Lisa's upcoming wedding, and get this, why Carl actually doubts that he's the father of Lisa and her twin sister Jennifer. We are just getting started.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phill.
My dad is probably not coming to my wedding in Cancun, Mexico.
I don't want to spend $1,500 to go to a wedding.
They fight.
There's no way that I can spend 3 months' rent to go to Mexico like that.
And fight.
I think you guys have a drinking problem.
I think there's a few of us in this family that have a drinking problem.
Are you drunk today?
Like that.
And fight.
Are you nuts?
I never said
Yes,
that.
you
No, I
did.
didn't.
Yes, you did.
When did I say that?
Do not lie.
You have serious issues with your mother.
Can't stand her.
But no one's prepared
You once told him not to call you Dad.
for Dad's shocking accusation.
You question whether Jennifer and Lisa are your daughters.
I had my doubts.
That's tomorrow.
I'd like to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Estate Attorney Ann Margaret Carrozza. Log on to drphil.com and share your thoughts on our message boards. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter using hashtag Dr. Phill or hashtag Divided Over Money. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Today on Dr. Phil.
My dad is probably not coming to my wedding in Cancun, Mexico.
I don't want to spend $1,500 to go to a wedding.
They fight
There's no way that I can spend 3 months' rent to go to Mexico like that.
and fight.
I think you guys have a drinking problem.
I think there's a few of us in this family that have a drinking problem.
Are you drunk today?
And fight.
Are you nuts?
I never said
Yes,
that.
you
No, I
did.
didn't.
Yes, you
Wait,
did.
when did I say that?
Do not lie.
You have serious issues with your mother.
Can't stand her.
But no one's prepared
You once told him not to call you Dad.
for Dad's shocking accusation.
You question whether Jennifer and Lisa are your daughters.
I had my doubts.
Let's do it. This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Yesterday, I sat down with outspoken family patriarch Carl, whose daughter Lisa accused him of stealing her inheritance. Now, this dispute divided the entire family, with Lisa on Mom Kathy's side, her sister April on Dad Carl's side, and Lisa's other sisters, Jennifer and Sierra, caught in the middle. We also discovered this family's problems were way beyond Grandma's inheritance, but also included name-calling. Carl called his ex-wife Kathy a 160-pound mosquito, a nasty divorce, and even a mail-order bride in the Ukraine. Take a look.
My dad stole my inheritance. It infuriates me. It's beyond selfish.
I did not steal my kids' inheritance.
I saw a copy of her will. Carl would get 75% of the estate, and our daughters would inherit the remaining 25%.
My mother asked me how I felt about that, and I told her I felt it was wrong. My mom listened to what I said, and she changed her will. The bottom line of a mother's will is I want people to stop talking about it. I inherited it. They can wait till I croak, and they get theirs.
It's about several hundred thousands of dollars a year, so, I mean, it's a significant amount of money.
It bothers me that you totally negated what she wanted.
I
It
did
didn't
not
matter.
negate it.
I don't even really know
She
the story.
amended it.
It's all been so
Nobody's ever
hush-hush.
saw the will.
No one's ever seen it. He's not talked about it.
Before my grandma passed away, she told me that I could have this really big, beautiful mirror that used to hang in her house. I love it, and it always reminded me of her. After my grandmother passed away and I asked my dad about getting the mirror, he told me that if I wanted it, I was gonna have to pay him $150 for it.
Really?
I guess it was really.
You negotiated to sell this to your daughter?
Hey, the facts are the facts.
Lisa's sister April says the inheritance money belongs to their dad and no one else should feel entitled to it.
Basically, we have two camps. We have Lisa and her mom versus April and I.
I completely support my dad. I always have my dad's back. I think that my sister, Lisa, and my mother are trying to make my dad look like he's greedy and self-serving.
April thinks I'm a bitch.
The sound of her voice makes me cringe. When I think about my mom, I feel like I want to punch her in her face. Here's the thing, Lisa, though. Had you ever asked Dad, show me these documents, he would have shown them to you.
April, we were going to have a conversation, but you told Dad that, get ready, they're about to, they're going to attack. They're going to attack you.
There was a will. He was named in the will. I give the rest and residue of my trust to Carl.
Something
You
that
want to
wasn't
come over and look at the damn papers? I got them in a bookcase.
I
You
see,
want to read the
Dad.
whole
I see
300
them.
pages?
I see.
This family drama is just getting started. Not only are Lisa and Kathy upset over the will, they also think that old Carl might just be wasting this inheritance money on a possible catfish scam with a Russian mail-order bride.
For 2.5 years, I've been using an international dating website. I'm interested in girls from Ukraine. I've been to Ukraine twice. She stood me up. I told Natalia, now you play by Carl's rules. I've offered her small amounts of money and she never accepted. Natalia speaks Russian, and I've been studying to learn how to speak Russian. I can say things like, "Ya lublю Natalia." I love Natalie.
If he wants to meet people in Ukraine, do your thing.
The way that I look at it is that he is spending my inheritance, chasing a dream that's not gonna happen.
In 2 years, you've never heard her voice?
Correct.
Where was she when you went over to see her?
Supposedly in Istanbul on business.
Why wouldn't she stick around the house?
Well, that's in the back of my mind. All right, hey, I'm not stupid. Hey, I'm not stupid.
Lisa admits she's angry that her father found the time and the money to travel twice to the Ukraine, but refuses to spend money to travel to her upcoming wedding in Cancun. Take a look.
I'm getting married in a couple months. My fiance and I are having a destination wedding in Cancun, Mexico. My dad is probably not coming to my wedding.
I don't want to spend $1,500 to go to a wedding.
I know my dad has spent thousands of dollars traveling to the Ukraine twice.
I'm very upset. What father wouldn't want to go to his daughter's wedding?
Is not only about finances, it's also I don't feel it, like I really want to do it. It's, I guess, because we have this conflict all the time. I don't feel all lovey-dovey and in tune with this whole thing.
When I think about the fact that he doesn't want to come, it is really devastating. It hurts my feelings so much.
Your dad has spent, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. You're saying on going back and forth to the Ukraine and letters and all of that, but the cost of coming to your wedding is like $1,500, $1,600. He said, can't afford that.
Yeah, but he just said that he doesn't feel like he wants to go because he's just not feeling it emotionally. So I don't even know if he had the money, he would go.
Right. What do you mean you're not feeling it?
I feel like we clash so often that it's like, to me, what I try to do, she probably never mentioned it, for a long time, is to have her have a wedding at a nice place somewhere near where we are.
It's not what you want.
I know it's not what I want, but be sensible.
There's no way that I can spend 3 months rent, plus probably 4 months rent, to go to Mexico for 5 days. Like, I think it was selfish of you to decide to summarily eliminate your friends and
it wasn't about
their
eliminating
family.
It wasn't about eliminating my friends.
In order
it was
for you to do this destination wedding. You could have had a wedding here and gone to Cancun for your honeymoon.
I could have, but that's not what we wanted to do. And we decided
Well, then people can decide if they want to go or not, too.
You're right.
Yes, I'm your
Like,
dad.
I would love to go, obviously, but especially after this whole week, being around our family and certain members of our family is not healthy, especially for myself, especially regarding her. I don't want to be forced into a situation where there's going to be drama at your wedding because our family is all together.
I do not want that at all. I do not want drama at my wedding. And as far as the money is concerned, we planned this 2 years ago. So that way everybody, it was like September of 13. So that way, the way we figured it, it gave everybody like 17 months to put money away. It was $60 a month to save. And $1,500 is for airfare, all inclusive, all your drinks, all your food, the hotel for 5 days. I don't think it's that unreasonable, but I totally get that you guys can't go, but it hurts my feelings that my own dad wouldn't want to come.
You question whether Jennifer and Lisa are
Right.
your daughters.
I still have my doubts.
You know, even if it were true, Carl, I don't understand why a father would say that to his daughter.
Mom.
And later,
You guys have a drinking problem.
I think there's a few of us in this family that have a drinking problem.
as if this family isn't divided enough, there's speculation that Carl has doubts that he's even the father of Lisa and her twin, Jennifer. Take a look at this.
Carl and I were married for 24 years, and during that time, we were separated twice. One of the times we separated was about 9 months before our twin daughters were born. During our separation, I saw another gentleman briefly.
She was dating this guy, and she's doing her thing with him, and she occasionally was doing her thing with me. And next thing you know, the doctor said, "You're having twins." I've had doubts that Lisa and Jennifer are my kids.
Carl has even had the audacity to tell our daughters how he felt.
When he told me that, I was devastated and confused.
My twins don't really resemble me.
Even if it were true, which it's not, why would you even say something like that to your daughters?
That's probably one of the most hurtful things you could ever tell your child. And he did it out of vengeance and spite.
Well, yes, there are 2 more daughters to add to the mix. Lisa's fraternal twin, Jennifer, and Sierra, who both feel very much caught in the middle.
Lisa's my twin sister. I am the peacekeeper whenever we had arguments. I usually try to keep everybody calm.
I'm the youngest. I really want to stay neutral in this because there's just too many sides, too much he said, she said.
I feel like I'm caught in the drama because it's my dad against the rest of us. I've never seen a copy of the will, but I know my grandmother would have wanted us to have something of hers, definitely.
The will probably isn't the biggest issue with me. Just the fighting that happens with my dad and my sister Lisa, and my mom and my sister April. It tears our family apart. The drama in the family is definitely a huge mess. What I want for my family is just to get along.
With everything that's going on with my family right now, my greatest fear is that the rift will be too big and we won't be able to fix it.
Well, you 2 have been watching the show the whole way, right? You've been
Yes.
listening to everything that's been said. So, Carl, you question whether Jennifer and Lisa are
Right.
your
Can I
daughters?
mention something about this? It was something I blurted out, and I regretted saying it, but I did have doubts. I mean, it doesn't matter. I said I still love all my daughters. It's not like, oh my God, I hate those 2. You know, it's just I have had my doubts. I still have my doubts, but they're in my mind. You know, I keep it to myself.
No, you don't.
No.
What do you mean? No, I don't. When the last time I ever mentioned it?
You only have to mention it once, and it pretty much has the impact that.
And it wasn't 9 months, I want to say that.
You were dating him a long time,
Carl, when we got back together, I stopped seeing him.
but that's about the time you got pregnant.
No, it wasn't.
So
How do you feel about this, Jennifer?
I think it's ridiculous. Even if it is true, which I don't think it is, it's not going to matter because he's
I
still
don't
my
either.
dad to me.
I feel the same way.
You know, and I don't think about it because it's not an issue for me.
Even if it were true, Carl, I don't understand why a father would say that to his daughter.
Mom, why would a mother say, I don't care if we don't have a relationship because I have 3 other daughters?
I never said
Yes,
that.
you
No,
did.
I didn't.
Yes,
when?
you did.
When did I say that?
Do not lie. About 4 years ago at Christmas time,
I heard it.
you said it.
Well, maybe I did, but I don't remember it. Must have been a reason why I
Maybe
said
you
it.
were stoned and so you don't
No.
remember.
You were stoned?
Maybe you were drunk and blurted something out.
Maybe I was drunk, but maybe you were high and don't remember. I definitely remember
wasn't
you saying.
high, see, or Lisa,
You
whatever
don't
your
even know
name
what my
is.
name is.
April, she has that problem with 4 kids.
You what?
April.
What'd you call her?
Sierra, then Lisa, then April.
She does that with all of us. She's calling out
I
our
do.
names. She's had that problem forever.
Do you get along with individuals?
Yeah,
If it's just the 2 of any of you, do you get along?
I get along with all of my family members. I love each of them individually for who they are. They're all so different, and I have different relationships with all of them. So
I feel like we can all get along. We're together too, but there's always stuff bubbling under the surface.
Right.
But a lot of it's stuff from the past that never seems to get dropped.
Well, it's because it's never been resolved.
You know, if somebody says something, you can't take the words back. They're arrows that you shot. You can regret it.
But we can talk about it and at least resolve it.
But here's the
It's
thing,
never
when
been
we
talked
are
about.
together and we talk about it, someone's always drunk or people are smoking weed, and then it gets contentious, and then there's arguments, and then there's yelling and screaming, and then people leave and run. Like there's
Well, I
never
think that's why this is a good
calm,
forum.
normal conversation.
Okay, all right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to find out what kind of disaster developed the last time this family tried to plan a reunion. That is before planning to be here on my show today. More with the Kardashians right after the break.
Carl's made it pretty clear that he really never wanted children.
I provided for them. They had nice homes, they had nice clothes.
My dad wanted to be more of a buddy, and my mom knew that she needed to be a parent.
Carl dealt with them by not dealing with them.
And later, are you drunk today?
Geez, a fifth isn't too much in the morning, is it? No, I don't. I only drink at wine o'clock.
The last time our entire family was together was at Sierra's graduation from college.
It was Father's Day weekend, and my mom had planned a big meal.
My plane was delayed. I went in the bar and had 3 glasses of wine. I got on the plane, and some Earth Mama across the aisle started getting mad because I guess I was loud.
He got kicked off the plane.
I had 2 sheriff's deputies meet me there.
Who gets kicked off a plane? I thought he'd be more responsible than that.
He missed the nice graduation dinner that my mom made. I felt really bad for Sierra.
You could cut the tension with a knife.
We all were really upset with Carl's behavior, but it wasn't really surprising.
Well, I'm here talking with a family fighting over a will and their grandma's inheritance, but as you just saw, the problem runs much deeper. There seems to be a common denominator of you drinking in a lot of the things that bubble up.
Probably true. But I did go to her graduation. I got there the next day. I missed the Father's Day dinner they prepared. But I didn't think I'd done anything terrible at the airport or on the plane. But I guess they felt I did, so they said, you're getting off the plane.
Oh, well, I'm sure they were all wrong.
They were all wrong.
Yeah.
So I stayed at the airport 3 more hours and drove home.
Are you drunk today?
Geez, a fifth isn't too much in the morning, is it? No, I don't. I only drink at wine o'clock.
Yeah. All right, look, what do you want to see happen here today?
I want my dad to know that it really hurts. It hurts me so much that you don't think it's important to come to the wedding, and it hurts me that you charged me for the mirror and the things that you said, that there's a chance we might not be your daughters. And I really want you to hear that and apologize and understand it, and maybe have a little bit of compassion from where I'm coming from and where everyone's coming from.
I do care how you feel. I'm just not as emotional as you are, I guess, and not as sensitive. I guess you're very sensitive, and I'm not, maybe partly because of the way I was brought up.
Well, when my dad tells me that he's not coming to my wedding, it kind of strikes a chord.
To me, it's also important that maybe you could have listened a little bit and had a wedding locally and go on a honeymoon to where you wanted as opposed to what you're doing. And I feel, in my mind, it's kind of like people saying, well, you've been living together for 8 years, you shouldn't wear a white dress. Well, I guess I kind of feel that way. You've been living together for 8 years, you have almost a 2-year-old kid.
So?
And it's like now it's this fancy wedding in Mexico, you know? It's like...
Right, but this day and age, who cares? And it's not like
I
this is
care.
the 3rd or 4th wedding.
I guess I care. I could be wrong, but I care.
It's what they want, not what
I know,
you think
but
they should
okay.
have.
Let me mention something else. I have a rental I'm trying to sell, which I then plan on taking some of that and going to Mexico. It's draining me $2,000, $3,000 more than every month that I'm earning an income. My money is draining. The money I inherited is draining because if I can't make enough in stocks to make up for it, and it's like, okay, here's another $1,500. Back 3 years ago, when I went to Ukraine the first time, hey, I felt like everything's cool. I'm always gonna have money. Well, it's been a problem in the last year, especially.
Yeah, but Dad, I wish that
and
you would...
I can't save $60 a month.
Well, that's fine, but I wish instead of saying, you're too old, you are selfish for doing this, you don't deserve it, blah, blah, blah. Instead say,
well, you deserve it. It's
Lisa,
just...
I love you, and I might not be able to make it, but I support you, and it's your decision, and that's it. Instead of making me feel bad about it.
I guess it's not my personality. I can try to change it, be a better, more understanding person, but I'm not you.
I want Carl and April to take ownership of their behavior and not blame everybody else for their problems.
Why are we being lumped together right now?
Because
I'm
you
not
guys
him and he's not me either.
I think you guys have a drinking problem.
I think there's a few of us in this family that have a drinking problem.
Well, Maybe so, but I just feel like, you know, and I feel like, Carl, I just feel like it's always about you. It's not what your children want. You once told them in the kitchen when we had over Sierra's graduation, you told the girls, Jennifer and Lisa, that you didn't care what they felt, you didn't care what they thought, that not to call you Dad, that you could call them something else.
What?
That you could call them something else.
No, what you said.
Let Lisa
Are you
explain.
nuts?
No,
she didn't.
What you
he
said
didn't say it
was
exactly like that.
Actually, she is nuts.
No, Mom said, as their father, you should hold yourself to a higher standard and be more of a role model. And he said, I don't want to hold myself to a higher standard. I don't want to be the role model. Then don't look at me like your dad. Just look at me as some guy.
As some regular
That's what
guy.
you said.
That's what you said.
Look at me as some guy?
Yes,
Rather than look,
you said
then
that.
don't look at me
I
as
can't
your
even
father.
picture me saying that.
Well, you did say that.
You did.
But then you
I
were
think you miss a
drinking
lot
that
of
night,
things
too.
you say.
Yeah, I think
Well,
so
I'm sure
too.
everybody does, you know.
You have serious issues with your mother.
Can't stand her. She makes my blood boil.
Yeah, you got a chip on your shoulder. You have serious issues with your mother.
Can't stand her.
Yeah, that's a short way to say it.
Very short.
You feel like you were abandoned by her. You have real problems and resentments towards her. I totally get that, and that's something that is going to need to be dealt with because it affects who you are.
Absolutely.
It doesn't affect just who you are in your relationship with her. You got a chip on your shoulder.
100%.
And it affects you. I think it's the reason you have anxiety. I think it's the reason that you do drink. I think it's the reason you self-medicate. And I think you've got an anger boiling inside you.
But honestly, I don't ever feel like angry like that unless she is around me.
Yeah.
Like she does, she makes my blood boil.
Yeah, I know she does.
And then like that kind of thing, it's like,
Yeah.
we've been pinned against each other for this whole week.
Yeah.
But having to be around her, like her coming down the other day,
Yeah.
it just makes my blood boil.
Yeah,
It
and
does.
I know, and you wonder why you two are lumped together, and then you kind of lump these two together, and there's resentment here, and I'm just telling you, that needs to go on your to-do list, because you think it doesn't affect you when she isn't around.
Yeah, but it
But I'm-
really does when she is.
I know, but I'm telling you, it affects you even when she's not.
I know.
It changes who you are. Hatred and bitterness is like a really bad odor. It just kind of permeates the whole room. You know, like if there's a skunk outside, it kind of goes through the whole house. Bitterness and hatred's that way. It kind of goes through everything, and it changes who you are. And that, you know, that has to be dealt with. And you know, you came here talking about, you know, my dad stole my inheritance, and I don't know if you really believe that or still believe that.
I
or
didn't
not.
know what to believe. I know, all I knew is that there was, I
What,
didn't know
what do you believe now?
I believe that my grandma wanted him to have it all.
Yeah.
From what the documents say.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something else, but I think that's,
You're welcome to go over and read it.
yeah, I think that. I believe that. And I'm okay with that.
And you know, that's, and you also know that that's pretty normal.
Absolutely.
That parents tend to pass on their wealth to their children, who then pass it on to their children,
course.
and then their children. So that's not like a really strange thing.
The only issue, I thought that there was, we were supposed to get something, and he did not allow that to happen. But I know now that's not the case, and I am so
Well, he
fine
talked
with
to her
him
about
having
it, and
Yeah.
she changed her mind.
Totally. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
I
told her
want
that,
him
she
to be
changed her mind.
happy and feel supported, and
And he may well squander all of that.
That's his
And,
prerogative.
And
Yep.
if he does, then Natalia, or whoever Natalia, whatever alter ego is running that identity, will be thrilled to spend your inheritance, I'm sure.
Well, can I ask a question? What would you think if you were up there with us and this Natalie came here and we got along, we decided, okay, we love each other, then she has to go back home, get the fiancé visa, and we got married, and 10 years from now, we're happily married. Do you think you would think I made a big mistake, or you would say, you know, turned out the way you wanted. You won the love lotto. And would they ever say, gee, Dad, I'm glad you're happy? Or would they say,
Of
God, I can't
course.
believe you're with that 36-year-old bitch, Dave. You know?
That's not it at all.
I would think you had absolutely defied the odds. Because, you know, you and I getting a little long in the tooth, and if you think that that's your fated mate, then you are drinking too much.
She should stop meddling in it. My mother says, oh, your father stole your inheritance.
We're divorced
She never said
14
that.
years.
You would have to
The point is, if he stole your inheritance, I think that our learned counsel down here, if she's honest, would probably tell you that if that's the case, he's probably going to get away with it, because the chance of you flipping that
I don't want to flip anything.
is probably close to zero, wouldn't you say?
I think this situation is crying out for a mediation, and you hit the nail on the head. This is not really about an estate. It's not about money.
It's not.
But what about a grand gesture, and you take $15,000 of this inheritance and fly everyone down to Mexico for the wedding?
He's gone catatonic.
The money isn't just sitting in some bank account
I
doing
understand.
nothing. It's wrapped up in investments.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
She should stop meddling in it. The whole reason that this whole thing came out 2 years after my grandmother died is that my mother said something to my older sisters. Oh, your father stole your inheritance. Like, we would not be here.
She didn't say that.
Had
She
that
just
not
said she
have
saw a
happened.
copy of the will.
We're divorced
She never said
14
that.
years.
All you would
Yeah, I
have to do is say, hey,
understand,
Dad, can I see both copies
Okay,
of the will? And this whole thing would have been squashed.
Okay, my turn. I think you've got your feelings hurt because your father is an alcoholic, and I think he's kind of drowned out his empathy, and I think he's not as dialed into and as sensitive towards anyone else as he would be otherwise. Maybe there are some things that you're going to have to give yourself that you wish you got from him, because people can't give you what they don't have.
Yeah, I get
And
that.
you may have to give yourself some things that you wish you could get from her, because she may be damaged to the point that she can't give you what she doesn't have. And,
Right.
you know, I hope that before you leave this world that you do two things. And one is stop staying in an alcohol haze, and two, stop hiding behind sarcastic humor, and realize that before you sits a daughter that would really benefit from the validation of a father that says, you are important to me, and I will make sacrifices for you, even if it's not the logic that I would choose. I really hope that everybody here would just try to realize the past is over. The future hasn't happened yet, and right now you need to try to find a way to be with each other in a peaceful sort of way. And I am certainly willing to help provide any kind of help and psychological support to try to help this. And if you ever get to a point where you decide you want to stop being a slave to alcohol, I will certainly help you do that. You deserve it, and I know that Natalia would thank me greatly. We'll be right back. Well, Lisa says her father, Carl, has always been focused on weight, and she wants to lose 30 pounds before her May wedding. Her mother, Kathy, who was called a 160-pound mosquito by her ex-husband, Carl, says that she bought my book, The 2020 Diet, and would like advice on how to lose weight. If you've got your wedding coming up, and let me tell you, I do have a lot of confidence in the 2020 diet. I waited 10 years to write my second weight book because I wanted new things to happen. I wanted something in emerging science and theory to be able to talk about. And we just had the two women on just recently that were my first guests when we launched the book. And they've lost 54 and 40 pounds since they started on this.
That's awesome. I saw that
show. And the two teachers from South Carolina, and they're crazy. Those two are crazy. And you absolutely can do that. And if you want to get in shape for your wedding, then I really want you to do that. And to help you to do that, I'm gonna give you that book. I'm gonna get you a personal trainer. I'm gonna get you set up in a gym. And we're going to get you ready and get you down there so you will make your goal. If you're trying to lose weight in 2015, I believe there's one thing you must do before you can succeed, and it's in 2020 Diet. And everybody in the audience is going to go home with a copy today. When it comes to Mother's Day, we don't want to mess around. In just a few days, we'll be honoring the women who bathed us, fed us, guided us, and still love us no matter what. Right?
That's right. And a text with a flower emoji just won't cut it, guys.
So just in time for Mom's special day, our friend Lisa Ersbaumer created a book called A Letter to My Mom. Okay, now celebrities and civilians wrote letters of gratitude to the women who raised them.
Some of the celebrities are Kelly Osbourne, who wrote a letter to her mother Sharon, and Melissa Rivers, of course, wrote a funny letter to her mom before she passed away.
So tell me how you got into this series. This is part of a series of books, right?
It is. Our first one was a letter to my dog, actually, which I know you love your dog.
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, I haven't written a letter to Maggie, but we do.
I think Maggie knows you love her.
He talks to Maggie every day as
well. I know.
Yeah, here's Maggie.
I think I realized recently that my connection to letters also goes back to my father. When he died, while he was on his deathbed, like the last few nights of his life, he wrote us all letters.
But letters are different than almost anything else we write because they're so personal, right?
Yeah, so personal.
And your dad wrote you all letters? I mean, this was like at the very end.
Very end. He dictated them to my mom, who then typed them up and gave them to all of us like the next day. And they're all framed. And,
so now it's a letter to my mom. And so, Lisa, when you decided to do this, you called and asked me if I would do a letter to my mom.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I wrote a letter to my mom.
Love your letter.
And by the way, I call her Grandma. I said, hey, Grandma, which actually is my mom, you and I have always had one of those unspoken bonds. We understood each other from the start, but that is no excuse for my not actually telling you how I feel. So I'm writing to share a few thoughts that I don't say out loud enough. The footprint of your willing spirit and loving heart are more etched into us than Jay and Jordan's baby handprints were in the concrete sidewalk in front of our Texas home. Rob and I marvel at your kindness, courage, strength, optimism, and rock-solid values have found their way into our whole family right down through our grandchildren. Love like yours has such a ripple effect because your tenderness and wisdom have been passed along to the next generation of McGraws. Just last week, you were helpful to Jay as he comforted little Avery before starting preschool. Jay assured her that other people besides Mom and Dad were okay. He knew that because you made him feel safe and loved every day of his life. People do live what they learn. From you, I learned how to be a compassionate, engaged, loving husband, father, and man. Even at my age, I still do my best to not disappoint you. You have written on the slate of who I am every day of my life. Physically, you left us 3 years ago. Ultimately, it was your heart that gave out, the biggest heart that ever beat. I miss you like crazy, but as I said earlier, you are still here. Your spirit permeates every one of us in ways large and small. Thanks, Grandma. I love you, your favorite son, Phill. Notice I said your favorite son, Phill. I was the only boy.
He's her only son.
There's another letter that is not in the book, but it is one of the sweetest letters I've ever read. I wanted to share it with Robin.
Mom, I've always known that I had an amazing mother, but I realized recently that you can't fully appreciate your parents until you become one yourself. I feel like I should start shopping for Mother's Day cards in the thank you section. As I look back over the years, the dedication and sacrifices you've made for me are unbelievable. I've been blessed in many ways in this life, but none more so than having you as my mom. I love you and thank you. Happy Mother's Day, Jay.
And Jordan is on the road touring with his band Stars in Stereo, but he also says Happy Mother's Day. Lisa's book, A Letter to My Mom, is now available in bookstores, and my whole letter is in it. I just read you a short part. And if you ever want to know a little about my life in relationship with my mother, it's included in there with a lot of pictures along with some other very moving letters. It makes a great Mother's Day gift. And you only have 5 more days to get Mom something, so get busy. So, Lisa, this is a great idea and a great book. Keep this series going, will you?
I will, and thank you, really, for being part of it.
You are such a crybaby.
I am a huge crybaby. These are really happy tears, though. And I hope to bring some more tears very soon, because for everyone in the audience, Lisa has got you covered because she brought all of you a copy of this beautiful book to take home.
Another great gift idea for Mom is one of the products from the Robin McGraw Revelation skincare line. This is something that Robin has been working on for the last 3 years, so I'll let you talk about it.
Again, very near and dear to my heart. As moms, I think we get so caught up in putting everyone else's needs first. I know your mother did that as well as my own mother. But I think you've all heard me say that it is not selfish to put yourself at the top of the list, because I think if we don't take care of ourselves, who's going to? So you must take care of yourself. And I think taking care of yourself starts with taking care of your skin. And the products that Philip was just talking about in my 30-day kit makes it easy to do that. One of my top beauty tips that I've always believed in is to never go to bed without washing and cleansing your face. I think that's very, very important, and I've done that every day of my life.
Boy, I'll say.
Without fail, it's very important. Well, this kit that I've created has everything you need to get into the routine of beautiful skin. You know, it only takes a couple of minutes every morning and every night. That was very important to me, to make it something very quick. And I want everyone here to have that 30-day kit. So you're all going home with it. Happy Mother's Day.
You can find this product and more at RobinMcGrawRevelation.com. So go there, get something for your mom. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Lisa Ersbaumer. For more information on today's show, you can visit drphill.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.